What does your shirt mean, Nick?
It's a screw inside a ball. I'm a screwball. Get it?
That shirt is definitely you.
Your skirt is kind of sports-related, Penelope. What sport are you playing? Baseball or football?
I'm playing my own sport. One where I make all the rules.
Is there room for me on your team? I have to warn you though. I'm no good at sports ball.
On one condition.
Name it.
When it's your turn to play that I get to be your cheerleader.
You'll have an exclusive contract.
You mean I'll be your one and only?
Absolutely.
I'd better be.
I don't know if Nick could get any redder.
Everyone laughs.
The only reasonable thing to do is to play against Team Penelope.
What reason could you possibly have to do that?
Because I want to win. And you can't have a winner without competing sides.
There's more to sports than winning.
You're right. Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. I'll tell you what. I'll give you a 10-point lead so that you don't lose so badly.
I really like how everyone has so much fun together. I wish I was wearing something sports related. Are you guys planning something for the mission?
Actually no. It's all a coincidence.
Nick suddenly pauses as we hear a crackle over the loudspeaker.
Everyone get ready for the mission. The project has been given a very large grant by the government to explore the most effective way to encourage people to seek a college education. Specifically, are people more receptive to friends, family or societal pressure?
Shouldn't the individual be left alone to decide if they should go to college?
It seems like everyone is headed to college anyway. Might as well get them there sooner versus later.
Getting a degree takes years. And what would happen if someone finished only to realize that they aren't happy with their career?
You don't go to college to be happy. You go to college to be successful.
Ryan.
The truth hurts. I know.
The truth is somewhere in the middle.
It's kind of sad to think that we would give up being happy for being successful.
Most everything we do has an unpleasant element to it. But there should be some personal benefit to everything we do. What good is success if you don't enjoy it at some point?
I can't argue with that.
Getting back to the mission. We'll be dropping you off in a suburban neighborhood. Expect to meet a family. Their conversation should drift towards college naturally.
I predict that it will drift towards college sports by the way everyone is dressed.
I'm not sure the government will be happy with our results then. I'm only going to suggest college if they need it.
Taxpayer money well spent.
We would have briefed you on all these details much sooner. But government red tape prevented it. Focus on the mission at hand, please.
Sure thing. You're not going to blame any diversion of the mission on me.
Prepare to enter unformatted matter in 3, 2, 1.
This is a nice neighborhood. Is that Charlie?
It can't be.
It is Charlie. How did Charlie get here?
Who cares? Charlie always relaxes me so he can come along anytime.
Sure, but how did he get here?
I stopped trying to figure him out. He and the unformatted matter do strange things sometimes. It always works out for the best though.
So far.
Don't be so worried. Things always seem to work out when Charlie is here.
Well, someone better go get him because he's running off.
Come back here, Charlie. You're making me look bad.
Don't worry. I'll get him. I'm really sorry. Our dog got away from us.
That's quite all right. I love dogs. I get one for my little girl, but she may be headed off to college soon.
Is that so?
Well, doesn't everyone have to go?
That depends on the career you have in mind.
I haven't really decided on one.
Then how do you know you need a college degree?
That's what I said.
Because everyone says you need a degree. And everyone can't be wrong.
That's a compelling argument. I'd say she has a point.
Who exactly is saying she needs to go to college? Ryan.
Not me. But everybody else. Even if she hasn't decided on a major. She can take the general education classes while she's deciding on a major.
That's a good point.
Nick. Whose side are you on?
Your side. Of course.
For a minute I thought you forgot that.
I'd never do that.
Nick pauses for a moment and changes the subject.
Ryan is right about general education. But going to college without a plan is a recipe for disaster. It can make you feel like you've wasted time and money.
My high school counselor told me about general education classes. I'm not looking forward to that.
Just because you don't like something doesn't mean you shouldn't do it.
Going to college is such a big decision and so many people expect me to go. There's just so much pressure from teachers, counselors, family and friends. Everyone says I need to pick something that will make me successful.
College can be a wonderful experience. But it's important to go because you find value in it. If you go, then you should pick your major because you want it. And not because others want it for you.
I agree with that part of what Penelope said. After all, you're the one who has to live with the consequences of your actions. And not anyone else.
A very good reason not to go to college if you know it isn't for you.
Other people will go to college and later be successful. They'll be doctors, lawyers and business leaders. If I don't go to college, then I won't be any of those things. I mean, what will I tell people that I am when they ask?
Happy. You will tell them you're happy. Maybe college is for you. Maybe you'll love it and it will lead to a great career. But having a great career and having a life that makes you happy are two different things. It's more important to be happy than to be successful.
I'm in full agreement with that idea.
I know, Dad.
Nick. Why do you have to be like this all the time?
I'm trying my hardest not to laugh at Ryan's sarcasm.
Like what?
None of us live in a land of rainbows and unicorns. What is she supposed to do when she has to do something she doesn't like? You don't always get a choice.
I have two things to say about that. First, we do live in a land with rainbows. Second, I know that there are things in life that we have to do even if we don't want to do them. In those situations, most of the time we decide when, how much and how often we have to do those things. The key is to make sure that you're following your goals, and not someone else's.
Okay, I see where you're coming from on that. But another reason to go to college is so you can have a good job with competitive pay.
Ryan, you're bringing up a good point. In a roundabout way, it's important to determine how much money you need in order to do everything you want to do. This will depend on the lifestyle you want to lead. Once you have a good idea of how much you want, then you'll need to limit yourself to jobs that will most likely pay at least that amount.
That is a good practical suggestion when you're not sure of your career path and you want to narrow your choices. But it's important to realize that there are high earners in even traditionally low-paying careers. So don't rule out a job you want to do just because it might not pay well.
You can always do the job you like as a part-time job or as a volunteer. And have another job on the side just for paying the bills. That's not an ideal situation, but at least you get some of what you want.
Ryan then takes a deep breath.
Actually, I find high-paying jobs attractive because they're so competitive. You really have to be on the top of your game. It's very exciting.
In that case, you're doing the job because of how it makes you feel and not for the money. I would definitely support a career choice for that reason.
I can see where you're coming from on this.
Ryan turns to the young girl.
Maybe you don't want to go to college because you're just afraid of losing. Or worse. Maybe you're afraid of trying.
No. It's not that. I'm really good when it comes to doing new things. The thing is, I don't know what I want to do with my life. If I don't know what I want to do, should I do what someone else wants me to do? Part of me does want to be successful.
Being successful is about believing you're a success more than being an actual success. Defining success any other way will lead to problems.
Penelope is right. Success is mostly arbitrary because you can always do more. If you get one gold medal, then why stop there? In fact, if there's another gold medal that you can win, someone could say you still need to win one more. If you always believe there's one more medal to win before you can be considered a success, then you'll always feel like a failure. Even if you've won 1,000 medals.
So how do you ever feel like a success?
Set realistic goals.
Isn't the goal to win or at least get one of the prizes? So using a race as an example. Getting either first, second or third place.
A success could be training consistently for the race, completing a race, or finishing a race at a personal best time.
In that case, you could just declare some kind of victory after you run any race. That's like firing an arrow and painting a bullseye wherever it lands.
I hate to admit it, but Ryan has a sort of point. If everything is a victory, then winning is shallow.
I completely agree. The win has to be important to you. So it has to be something that can reasonably be achieved, while producing a sense of accomplishment. The easiest way to do that is to list all the paths to success before doing a task.
So what you're trying to say is that I was right and you were wrong. I'm going to declare victory then.
If you're taking my advice, then I consider that a victory.
Maybe we can approach this from a different angle. What kind of jobs can you see yourself doing? What did you want to be when you grew up? That shouldn't be too hard to answer. You were a kid not too long ago. What are we talking about? Maybe a few days ago or a week tops.
Everyone laughs.
What did you want to be when you were a kid? Ryan.
A rhinoceros because my name was similar.
That answer makes everyone laugh.
I'm sorry you didn't achieve your goal.
What do you mean? I'm totally a rhinoceros. Have you seen a more majestic nose? What about these broad shoulders? I'd say I've done pretty good. Maybe Nick and Penelope are a little right and success is a matter of perspective.
What about the times that you don't get anything close to a success?
Failing doesn't feel good. No one likes it. But it should be a possibility you come to terms with. Most people don't walk away with any awards and that's normal. There are going to be times when you don't meet the goals you set. And you have to learn to be okay with that. You can't let the fear of failure be the reason you don't try. If you decide that something is worth doing, then it's worth failing at every time.
Failing a few times while trying doesn't make you a failure though. Continuing in spite of multiple failures makes you a success at being persistent. If you really want to do something, it's highly unlikely that you would fail every time just because of the sheer number of tries that you'd be willing to attempt. If you run 1,000 races and finally win a medal, no one's going to care that you failed 999 times.
Would you mind if me and my little girl tossed around the old football while we talked? It'll be getting dark soon.
Not at all.
Do you remember when we would watch football and you always said I could tackle the other side's quarterback?
I sure do. You were a really tough 4-year-old. After all.
I'd have gotten pummeled.
You wanted to be a football player so bad. I thought that was so adorable. I just had to support you. I'm just sorry that sports were never really my thing.
So why did you encourage me?
It made me happy to see you happy. In a way, I was being selfish. I want someone to encourage me when I want to do things. So I encouraged you. I think that's called projecting. I'm not a fan of football. I'm a fan of you being a fan of football.
It's easy for me to do what I want to. If people are encouraging me, how should I deal with everyone trying to tell me what to do?
I'm not sure. Maybe our guests can answer that.
You should do what you want to do.
You should be what you want to be.
I smile, realizing that it's my turn to say something encouraging. I was going to say something about making yourself happy. But I was afraid of coming off as a bully.
I've never been peer pressured to do what I want to do. It seems like I'm always asked to go along with the crowd.
Your dad seems to want you to do your own thing.
I just can't see why she should live someone else's dream. Why give up your happiness for someone else?
There is a long pause.
The difference between the word are and the word your is the letter Y. Changing one thing changes the definition.
Adding letters to words has a habit of doing that.
What I'm trying to say is that what you decide to do isn't as important as why you decide to do it.
So let's say that I decide that I want to go to college. And that I even decide on a major. You're saying that even though I don't get to choose what classes I need, I can make up a reason why the class is useful to me.
In the case where you're taking a class you really don't want to but that you have to, you can just say that it will get you closer to completing the major you choose. This line of reasoning also works when you have a job.
Thanks, Mr. Ryan.
So are you going to go to college?
Maybe. First I'll have to make a list of all the things I want to do. Then I can decide if I need to go to college in order to get them done.
That sounds like a very good plan. I'm sure you'll be very successful no matter what you decide to do.
And don't forget that it's okay to make mistakes. Fail tests. And even fail a class. You can retake any class. There is no hurry to finish college. You don't even need to go full-time.
I forgot that you didn't need to go full-time. All the rest of that's true too.
Even the part about it being okay to fail a class.
I'm sure it wouldn't feel good, but it's not the end of the world. An employer will only care that you have the right degree. If they even care about that. They certainly won't care that it took you more than one try to pass a class.
That makes a lot of sense.
So does that mean that you want to go to college? If you say yes, you'll be an official member of Team Ryan. What do you say?
Ryan. This isn't a game.
Oh. I'm totally serious.
I'm still going to think of it before I decide. But I'm leaning closer to college than I did before. I certainly like the idea of going to college part-time so I can spend more time with Dad.
Well, I can't argue with that.
Well, it sounds like you have a lot of thinking to do. It was very nice meeting you, but the three of us need to get home before it gets too late. And Charlie too.
It was very nice meeting you.
Thank you for all your advice.
We wave goodbye and Nick signals the lab when they're gone.
Get ready to head home in 3, 2, 1.
I'm not sure the government will like the results of this trip.
We didn't exactly convince anyone to go to college.
What do you mean? She's totally going to college. I mean she would if she were real.
Well, even if it only happened in unformatted matter. I can't help but think it makes a difference.
Speaking of unformatted matter, how did Charlie join the mission?
Suddenly there is a crackle over the loudspeaker.
We can't really explain that at the moment. We'll need to look over the data gathered during the mission in order to answer that.
While that's all very important, I would like to remind everyone that the mission was a total success. Thanks to yours truly.
How?
It was clear that Team Penelope wanted the girl not to go to college, while Team Ryan wanted her to go.
I feel that you're misrepresenting our position.
That may be. But the fact still remains that she obviously chose to go to college. So I got 1 point and you got 0. That makes me the clear winner.
First, we weren't against her going to college, and second, we didn't agree that those were the rules.
Ryan. You mean that you lost. Because you only made 1 point.
There was only one person to convince to go to college. So there was only 1 point possible.
I'll give you an additional point and assume that you convinced her dad that she should go to college. But you still lose.
How is that possible? You didn't make any points, so it's 2 and 0. My favor.
You mean it's 10 and 2. My favor.
Because I gave you a 10-point lead.
The look on your face is priceless.
That's okay. We'll have a rematch. And I'll skunk you too. Just wait.
We'll clear our schedule for that, Ryan. I think we're ready to call it a day.